Welcome, everybody, to the Right Habit podcast. I'm Nicole Jans, your host, and today I have a special conversation with Elisabeth, who has been coaching with me, who is an amazing academic, who I've known for a long time now, but we haven't spoken in a while. So I'm super excited to learn all about her research, her writing practice, and everything that helps her to get all her publications done while navigating life and all the things that come our way. So welcome, Elisabeth.
Well, thank you for having me, Nicole. It's wonderful just to have this little bit of reunion. So I'm happy to be here.
Could you just tell us what is it that you do? Where do you work? What do you write?
I'm American and originally from New York City. And I don't have the regional local New York City accent, but my siblings do. But I'm originally from New York City, grew up there. And my PhD is from Rutgers University, New Jersey. I've known you, Nicole, for about, I think, 4 or 5 years. I was looking back at our email. But since then, I've progressed a lot. Right now, I am, after doing 2 postdocs since I finished the PhD, I'm now a Wellcome Trust Fellow and a Senior Postdoctoral Research Fellow based in the School of Philosophy, Religion, and History of Science at the University of Leeds, and have been here in the UK for 2 years now, and was a Wellcome Early Career Award recipient as well.
I know your research field. I want everybody else to know because it's just so cool. Tell us what you're researching.
I'm a intellectual and cultural historian. My project is a sociocultural intellectual history of babies, morality, and medicine in the long 19th century, so 19th century America and Britain. So looking at how babies, infants, primarily children aged 0 to 2, were understood and imagined and conceptualized and treated by medical and scientific experts, as well as child rearing matrons, and how they understood and imagined the baby to be a moral agent, a moral actor, as well as in some cases a spiritual actor and a spiritual agent. So they were more than just a bundle of cells or neurons.
What led you to the topic?
I'm a lapsed medical student, so I was training originally as an undergrad at Columbia University, and I was training to be a pediatrician. I always wanted to work for UNICEF and UN, and I always pictured myself to be a pediatrician out in the world treating sick babies. That was a dream of mine, and then I hit organic chemistry and realized I absolutely hated organic chemistry and the hard sciences, and so I realized that my true love was really in more philosophy and history. And after a few iterations and a few consultations with some friends and people that I knew and that knew me well, I realized that I had to pursue what was the field then known as the history of science and medicine. So I was very much interested in the historical and philosophical questions behind the practice and the enterprise of medicine and science and the history of ideas. That carried with me throughout the years, and I did several careers as well before I went back to get my PhD. And time again, it was always my interest in children, in babies, on trying to understand the history and the philosophy of how experts understood and treated and aimed to improve the health and the well-being of our young human fellows. So that was always the obsession.
I didn't know you were gonna be a doctor. I mean, a different kind of doctor.
Yeah.
And I love that you took that time when you hit that organic chemistry and it just didn't work for you and it kept you from pursuing that dream. And you just said, okay, I can mold this into a different dream where I'm still dealing with babies, but from a philosophy standpoint.
Really thankful for where I am right now and for getting paid to do what I do because I love it and I love teaching as well.
I have 2 children, and now I'm very curious. What did, in a nutshell, that's going to be so hard after so many years of research, but what did people think about babies in the 19th century?
During this time, this 19th century Victorian era was also known as a time of the age of childhood innocence. Is a child innocent by nature? Is a child pure? Is the child evil by nature, as influenced by the Calvinists or the Puritan sort of understanding? So all these sort of perspectives of the nature of the child were at play and developing and forming, as well as scientists and medical experts thinking about, well, how do we look at this little human being? Is it just a mini adult? So thinking about that. And then you have psychologists forming child development, and the study of child science is emerging, where they're studying the child and developmental stages. And of course, the theory of evolution comes into play. What I'm trying to show is that this is really the dynamic and sort of an explosive era of how people were debating and kind of obsessing about the study of children. And children become now objects and subjects of scientific, literary art as well. You see them in poetry and children's literature. So the child emerges as this vital subject and object and figure in society. Children are born with a deep inner world that we have to pay attention to.
How do you turn all of this complexity into something that's publishable?
Yeah, so I feel like I've just begun that journey, but just a little bit of what I've done so far is I've produced 2 articles and a few encyclopedic chapters on child development and developmental psychology and the histories of childhood in America. 2 specific articles that are related to my PhD research. And now I'm working actively on a book proposal as I've been approached by a few editors who really believe in my work. And my Wellcome project currently, as it stands, is called The Science of Infancy. And then also composing a symposium as well that extends upon kind of what I'm working on, and have already collected a network that's quite international of sort of global scholars that work on related topics. But there's still a lot more to do.
Well, that's good. You're still excited,
Yeah.
wanting to move forward. How long have you been writing on the book proposal?
2 months on and off, just because it's been interrupted. Because one exciting thing, actually, I've been busy hiring someone because I'm actually hiring my own postdoc. I'm also being a supervisor to a PhD project as well as to a PhD in public policy. So yeah, I'm motivated, and I'm sort of trying to hit the ground running with that.
So I can already see, you're stepping into the full academic, the full-blown academic life of, from this protected postdoc fellowship sort of world now into, supervising, organizing symposia, edited journal special issues, hiring your own support. And so that obviously, sadly, we all wait for this moment, right? Oh, when will I have that full academic life? That it's like faculty life, right? At
Yeah.
the same time, it's drawing on your energy, and then your
Yeah.
own. People keep saying to me, like, especially academics, my own work, everything is their work, but sort of the thing they really want to work on, the proposal, the book that is basically a
Yeah.
sole author. This is my thing that sometimes it
Yeah.
sometimes gets delayed, but I love that you have a deadline. I
Exactly.
think that's going to be helpful. I'd love for you, because you've been coaching with me for a while. You've been in the
Mhm.
90-day accelerator. We've also done some one-on-one coaching,
Yeah.
quite a while back now. What are a few practices that keep reminding you to come back, to the writing process that make all of that work?
What I drew from our time together is really asking and returning to the why question, envisioning your future self. One of the things I always try to do is take a pause, really trying to observe and reflect on why it is I'm doing what I'm doing, for what purpose, for who, and also why I am putting my work out there. Like why is it so important to me? And I can answer those questions, and that's helpful for me, and that motivates me to carry on what I need to do. But I think it really is about envisioning your future self and who I want to become, rather than essentially what I want to produce. But it really is who I want to become, and becoming that person and acting as that person. So it's really being that person and envisioning that person. And then also understanding that we are also creatures of habit and rituals. Doing the 3 prompts that kind of get me into the flow in the morning, making a cup of coffee, and then turning on Baroque music. I mean, that gets me in the mood, and that always helps me, whether I feel like it or not. I just obey those prompts. And I think that's been really helpful for me. And then one other thing is community and accountability. So I still write with the people from the 90-day workshop that we had. And that has been so wonderful to me, and I know wonderful for them as well. And so I still continue, even though it's been a year or two, that I still write with those folks and really just keep each other accountable and just remind ourselves, again, without judgment, and just be in the space of others. So body doubling has been really helpful for me because it really takes a community to write with others, and knowing that you're showing up also for yourself, more importantly, but also for others as well, and that you can do that for others. And then one other thing is also recovery time. That is so important. I didn't know that before I worked with you, but I think one of the things that you really emphasize, one of the many things you emphasized, was about recovery time, giving yourself time to have things marinate, and we really need that. And I think that's when the best ideas kind of come forth.
Do you remember when you think back now, maybe you don't remember, it's a long time ago, but when you
Yeah.
before you started coaching with me, what do you think was the biggest issue for you why you couldn't move forward to complete the writing?
Just being like unstructured. It was also COVID as well. And the lack of, and being an extrovert and not having community, feeling very isolated. But I think, especially for an extrovert like me, that was extremely painful, and not feeling motivated because of the constant imposter syndrome that I felt. I mean, I still, I think we all, regardless of where we're at, we still suffer imposter syndrome, but it was really hardcore imposter syndrome, back then. Oh my gosh, this will never get done. I'll never get this done. Not really knowing who I am and really having to learn that with you. I think that was really important, but also believing in myself and having confidence. And I think that all drives it, that all drives you. That's sort of at the foundation of it. But it really was sort of like, I cannot finish this. This PhD is just an enormous elephant that I cannot overcome. And it was fear. I think it's fear that sort of crippled me and prevented me from going forward and taking that first step.
Yeah, I remember that. And I mean, I can just see the way you're talking to me now on the podcast about, how you're supporting others, your student, and then soon, you'll have this postdoc working for you. That's a huge transformation. I love what you said. I also love that you're still writing with the others, and I've seen it on the community platform. Sometimes it pings, not always, but sometimes randomly it pings that I notice, oh, they are still meeting up. That's so cool. They're writing together. That's exactly what the 90-day accelerator is made for. That circle around you, that
Yeah.
sacred space for you that you can carry forward in different ways. That's really lovely and wonderful. I'm just curious, what would be next in your journey?
I definitely want to stay on this side of the ocean for a variety of reasons, which some of you can guess. I very much feel that my heart and my whole psyche really belongs on this side of the ocean, whether it's the UK or Europe or the continent. And so I'm hoping to stay in academia, and I'd like to a permanent position, a permanent professorship. But at the same time, I also want to engage and be a public facing scholar. So engaging in public humanities, but also engaging with public policy work as well. I don't want to just be stuck in the ivory tower. I see myself as an activist as well. So getting involved with human rights activism as well, with organizations. In the immediate 2 years I have left, I'm going to do a little bit of those things. So I'm working with a PhD who is in public policy. So we'll be working in public policy work with MPs here in the UK and also in the US. And then I'm going to develop a museum exhibition, which I will call Babyology, which is very much drawn from the work that I've been doing would have been for the Wellcome project. So that's kind of the creative public humanities aspect of it that I'll be doing already before I go on to the next step.
Maybe as a final question, because I'm doing discovery calls for the 90-day program at the moment, we're almost closing doors. And often people are so excited to join, they can see how they can help them, but then they are on the fence. They think, oh, maybe I'm not sure if it's the right time. I'm not sure if I should invest. I'm just not sure. And if someone's on the fence, just like you were before you hired me and
Mhm.
joined my programs, is there a tip how they can make a good decision for themselves?
as someone who's gone and worked with Nicole for like 4 or 5 years, you can ruminate over this. Should I do this or should I not? But this is investment that is so important, an investment in you and in what you want to achieve. It sort of brought me to the next to jumping onto the next stone or boulder towards where I want to achieve. I return to what I've learned through working with you time and time again. It's something I've carried on with me that's been so helpful for me. And I think that your style, I mean, there's so many out there, but I think particularly Nicole, you're very you really tune into, I don't want to say like the woo-woo, but like I think that more sort of you're very aware and you help us to acknowledge and do a lot of self-reflection that I think is so important, especially as writers and as academics or as, authors and etc., whatever you're doing, but really tuning into who rather than what. I think it's because you've been there and you know it and that you're able to empathize because you've gone through it personally, and then you're able to sort of effectively and successfully kind of convey and teach us and inspire us, at least me, then that's been really helpful. And I think that this is a total investment. Like you cannot lose. There's nothing you can lose from it. I mean, it costs money, but I mean, honestly, it's like it's so worth it.
Thank you. Thank you. Oh, I love that. I love that it helped you so much and the others in the group.
Of course.
Anyone who's listening, if you feel like you have projects that aren't moving forward and you do want to move forward with them, take the plunge, book a discovery call. We can talk it through if it's the right thing for you. And Elisabeth, I'm just in awe of you. I love how you have shifted and transformed, how you're supporting others, how you are bringing all your creativity to the table. And I wish you the very best,
Thank you.
especially for the book proposal, because I think that's going to be an amazing milestone. And just thank you so much for this conversation. It's been so wonderful. Thank you. Thank you.
Of course. Thank you for having me.